Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 show to bring you all things Club America in English. Your hosts for today, Ivan Pineda, Christian Rosendo, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Let's start the show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Eagle Eye Podcast. Welcome to 2021 here at the Eagle Eye Podcast headquarters, and today we got plenty to talk about. We're going to be previewing this upcoming GUARD1ANES for Club America under the new regime that is Solari, and then we're going to be also talking about the additions that came into the club. Will we have more additions and some departures as well? And joining me today to talk all things Las Águilas del América is none other than Brooklyn's very own AJ and New York's favorite resident Christian Rosendo. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Excited to be back at work finally. 2021, a whole new season under a whole new coach, so it's gonna be pretty fun.
Definitely. Christian, how's New York?
Yeah, New York is still cold, but like AJ said, I'm ready to get back into the grind. Definitely an exciting season coming up, and we'll wait to better kick it off with you two and talk about a lot of transfer stuff that went down during our little 2-week break.
Definitely. Much needed vacation from us, but then again, we never really do have vacation as we were constantly on the hunt for Club America news. I know, Christian, you were sleeping day and night next to that phone as if there was no tomorrow. But again, Happy New Year's to everyone, every single one of you guys watching and listening. We're excited to have you guys back into the Eagle Eye Podcast. We're going to be talking again throughout this whole year and this semester, especially America and whether or not they are capable of getting that 14th title under Solari. But all right, gentlemen, let's go. Let's jump right into this. I mean, might as well start off. The big news that capped 2021, well, at least beforehand, 2020, leading into 2021, it is the addition of Solari, ex-Real Madrid coach. That is the way that the tabloids sold it. That is honestly the way everyone in Mexico is selling it. Ex-Real Madrid coach coming to America to coach and take over Piojo Herrera. Gentlemen, just quickly, I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. Do you like the signing? Are you hesitant? Are you a little bit on, for one way or another in regards to this addition? Or I mean, really, I just want to pick your guys' brains exactly how you guys feel about Solari.
AJ,
So yeah, go AJ.
So it's pretty exciting actually. First things first, I'm a Barcelona fan, but since we brought in a former Real Madrid coach, I'm like, I'm actually down with this. Let's go with this. I like it. It's not Piojo under the helm anymore. It's a whole new different coach that we got. As soon as you hear the name Real Madrid, you're like, that's a big team. That's one of the biggest teams in the world, and you're getting a coach who had the honor to coach the biggest team in Spain and now coaching the biggest team in Mexico. That's pretty exciting news to hear. And just seeing that what he has done at Real Madrid, despite him getting sacked, he's done some things, brought in some youngsters from the academy of Real Madrid Castilla and put them into the first team. And look where they are now. They are playing Real Madrid and other top teams in the world. So just to hear Solari coming to America, I was all aboard with this. I had no negative thoughts in mind. I'm like, let's go with them. I'm down with the Solari crew.
Awesome. Okay, Christian, what's your take on Solari?
There's no secret. I am a Real Madrid fan as well. So definitely hearing this news was definitely exciting for me. Never in my life would I think that an ex-Real Madrid coach would be the Club America coach. It's not the first time it's happened in America's history. It is the second time only though. But like AJ said though, no negative thoughts when this first news was breaking. And just before we get on, this is a name that obviously it was never a plan B, so to say. Everyone thought that Solari was a plan B. He wasn't. He was actually more of a plan A. And it's just interesting to see how things work behind the scenes, and it was this time I think we have to give credit to Baños and for pulling this off. Because this is a lot of behind the scenes stuff that it definitely caught a lot of people by surprise. But just talking about Solari, like AJ said though, very excited. He did a lot of good things in a very dark time in Real Madrid. He was the one that brought back the light to the team when the team looked like it was about to become some second division team, and it was pretty bad. And if anyone else is a Real Madrid fan during that time, they know exactly what I'm talking about. This is a character. He's a character that brings the best out of someone, and he knows how to play with the heart. And I think that's something that's lacking desperately in America. And I'm hoping he is the right guy to instill that in our players.
Well, I mean, you just mentioned it, Christian. It's not the first time that a European manager comes in, and because of that, I think that there's a lot of expectation on Solari's shoulder right from the get-go, right? I mean, uh, I mean, you're living up to the likes of Leo Ben Hacker. It's it's not an easy task to do. If I mean, none of us really remember seeing that team play because none of us actually saw that team play.
Correct,
But
exactly.
from the stories that you hear and from the thing and the way that people really speak about that America side it was a very, very entertaining America side. It was a very attacking America side, and to be honest, it looked like one of the best teams in the 90s. So the fact that he has to come up and rival that, I think, sets the bar really high. And let alone just managing America is always going to be a high bar. But then, seeing predecessors like Leo Ben Hacker who came in and kind of revolutionized the way the system America was doing and played more of a European attacking style football. Now it's whether or not that America, this Solari can make this America not just resemble that 90s Leo Ben Hacker side, but also kind of maybe one up him and say, you know what, we're gonna do much better than they did. So I think that's the expectation, not just from the fans, but from the board itself. So it's gonna be an interesting thing whether or not they're capable of setting that tone for America. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of a buzz and a lot of excitement in and around Coapa.
Correct. Yes, and you can see by player declarations as well. They're really enjoying, I guess, the new style that he's bringing to the team. They're not saying anything bad about Piojo. They all respect them. They all agree that every manager has their own way of doing it. And then right now they're just enjoying, I guess, the ideology, and just the idea that Solari is bringing, and it seems to be fitting players that we need them to become crucial. Sebastian Cordova, Nico Benedetti, Lainez. We all need these players to come alive and be very good at what they know how to do. And for right now, it looks like good impressions, but we won't know anything until the game Saturday night.
And that's going to be an interesting one. I mean, he hasn't really had much time to work with these. No preseason whatsoever either. So it's really going to be right from the get-go. And I guess we'll have to wait and see. And this is a really interesting question in regards to the topic of Solari and what play style we're going to get. And probably we'll jump into that a little bit later once we get into the preview of Atletico San Luis. And maybe, Christian, you can maybe, broaden our horizons into what we can expect from Solari in regards to this game. But Chris Rivera says, do you guys believe we have the players to play that style? And I think he's referring in regards to that style, the European Leo Ben Hacker type of style, where it was more of an attacking threat. It's a lot more of a, well-orchestrated America side. Do you think that we have the players to play that type of game in the Liga MX?
I think we do. I think any team does. It's just a matter of really being disciplined to your coach and just following whatever he says. But I think we have more than capable enough players to get the job done.
Okay, I think I agree. If Solari can whip these kind of players into shape, and have them be not just disciplined, but tactically disciplined as well, that is going to be the most important part about it. It should be interesting to see how he plays and whether or not he does have the pieces that he needs. And we'll talk in regards to reinforcements because, Christian, even though we have some players arrive, it doesn't seem like this might be the end of the transfer window for America. Again, all of that depends on a lot of external factors, but one mainly being the fact that some players have to leave in order for us to really start cementing any new signings. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But anything else to add on in regards to Santiago Solari? Because I know the buzz is all around Coapa and in the fan base as well. But anything else to add on?
Just one thing, AJ. I think you can kind of back me up on this one. America has been posting these videos on their Twitter, obviously, to kind of just get the interactions going. Everything surrounding their trainings, and but every time you hear Solari talk, it's just like he's filled with a lot of excitement. You always see a smile on his face. You always see this just level of enthusiasm he has for being at America, knowing what is expected of him, knowing how big this institution is, and knowing that he has to go out there and prove everyone wrong and make America champion at the end of the year. For me, that's already a good sign. Knowing that he came here with a purpose, and knowing that anything but a trophy is a failure.
Not about it. No, just hear what Gibran and I here first talk with Santiago Solari. Santiago Solari was talking all about this positive, how it's an honor for him to not only be before coaching one of the biggest team in Spain, but now getting to coach the biggest team in Mexico. That's always a good thing to hear. He's just genuinely excited. You mentioned just the attitude that he has coming into Guapa day one, smiles on his face. He's just, let's get to work immediately. He looks at the players. He's like, I can make this work. Let's go. You can give me some of the signs I need. I can get you a trophy, no doubt about it. And that's what we want to hear. That puts a sigh of relief to every America fan. They're leaving the past behind to what happened with Piojo, and they're moving forward on. And with hearing what Solari has done before Real Madrid, it brings also hope into America fans, saying that we could definitely do something. This could potentially be a whole new era under Solari.
It really can be. And like you mentioned, AJ, it's time to get to work. And well, let's get right into it. And let's talk America season. Obviously, you bring in a new coach, and the expectations, regardless of that, is always going to be win the league. We know we are America, and that is always going to be year in and year out, regardless of the situation that is at hand. So, my question to you, gentlemen, is with everything that's been going on in and around the roster, obviously the new addition of the coach, some departures, and then, of course, a couple of inclusions, which we'll get to in just a second. I'll ask you this question right now, and I'll re-ask it later on down in the episode. But do you think we are favorites to win the league? Just a simple yes or no.
Yes.
I would say no.
Okay, so we have a no, we have a yes.
Mhm.
I won't ask for you guys to just kind of broaden I thought just yet. There's a reason why I just asked that. It's a simple, short yes or no. We'll get back to it in just a moment. But Christian, talk to me in and around the world of Guapa. What has been going on in regards to the transfer window? What players have left? What players have come in? And how's the squad looking like for this 2021?
Of course. So let's start with the departures. Obviously, we have the big one, like you mentioned earlier. Pio Herrera obviously will not be our coach for this season. But we do have some players leaving. Also, we have Hueso Reyes leaving. We have also Gonzalez leaving. I don't know. Just let me quick thoughts. Also Gonzalez. I know this is a player that you guys didn't rate very highly, but thought he was decent enough, I guess, to keep a spot on the team. Now that he's no longer here, how do you guys feel about that?
Personally, I mean, it sucks just to see him go because there were some bright moments in season 4 where like he looked like a quality certain defensive midfielder, but I just feel like maybe this wasn't the team for him. But I feel like if anything, we could have maybe just had him sitting on the bench just in case Aquino did happen to get injured or something. But knowing you're bringing a caliber of a player like Aquino, you're gonna need to give someone up, maybe not equal, but some money in cash. And I feel like this was the best decision for also. So I really want nothing but the best of luck at Leon. But it's sad to see how he wasn't able to replicate his Necaxa form to what he had with those nice stats and then bring it over to America and potentially better it. But it just didn't happen for him.
I think I'm contradicting everything AJ said. I think it was time for him to leave. He just didn't fit the America criteria. I think the jersey fit too big on him. He never really grew into kind of the team and into his position. And, he was there to kind of do kind of a very filler role, the kind of the way Joe Corona did. I know some people have mixed feelings in regards to, whether Joe Corona had a good, successful years at America. I would argue that he did. He won some titles, and I think he was very crucial in that season that we did end up winning because he came off on the bench and maybe started a couple of games and provided some really good depth. Also never really had that kind of solidarity when he kind of stepped onto the pitch. You knew that, okay, he's gonna do the job. He doesn't necessarily have kind of all the qualities that maybe the starter does, but he can get the job done. At moments we thought he could, just never really lived up to it. And I think it was time for him to go. Like AJ said, it was unfortunate he couldn't replicate the form that he had in the Necaxa here at America. But I think it goes to show you that, some players are made for this club and some players just aren't.
Yeah, no, definitely. Everyone, just leave your comments down below on what you think on Oso Gonzalez. So yeah, those are some of the departures. Definitely think that we needed to bring people in. The first one we're gonna talk about, this is something that's been rumored since the start of the transfer window. Alan Medina finally has joined Club America from Toluca. Um, I still don't know about this one, guys. I'm not gonna say he's a bad player, mainly because I've never really seen him play, and I'm not gonna say anyone's a bad player before actually seeing them and giving them a season with us to see what they can prove. But the kid looks hungry. The kid looks hungry to prove people wrong. He's ready to get on the pitch, and he seems like he may be a very I guess you can kind of say of an important role player when it's time to give some of these players a rest. I think he needs to come in and prove himself every single weekend and week out whenever he gets that opportunity, and maybe more often than not. AJ, quick thoughts on Alan Medina?
At first I had doubts about it. I feel like just like everyone else, we waited that long to finally get him. But just seeing that, how now people are saying we got him, now let's see what he can do. For him, it's the same thing, really. I feel like it's gonna be a hit or miss with him. If he doesn't bring in the promise that everyone thought, just get Simba, take a spot. But still the nice thing to see from Alan Medina, he put up posts on Instagram, not mistaken, when he was him wearing an America jersey was young. He get to fulfill the dream he always wanted. It's to play in America. I feel like he's really proud of that. So for him, like you mentioned, I feel like he'll be becoming an important role player this season. And you know what? I'd say so too. So I got hopes in him.
Nice. Ivan,
Yeah.
quick thoughts.
Yeah, no, I agree with AJ. I think there's kind of this sense of let's see what the kid has to prove out on the pitch. And you mentioned it, Christian. He looks like he's hungry. He's posting things on Twitter and on Instagram saying, dreams come true with him, like with the
Yeah.
America jersey and all that stuff.
It's probably just
And
to
that
win us
kind of
over.
yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's really good. I think that's really good on his part. Not only just trying to win over the fans, but trying to say, look, hey, and I hope what I'm about to say actually comes true within the pitch. Is like, hey, I'm here to kind of win you guys over, not just with my tweets, but also with my performance out on the pitch. I'm excited. I'm ready. And if he can stay disciplined and if he can actually go out there and prove why he is one of the more promising youngsters in Mexico and really cement himself in this America side, I think that maybe we just found ourselves another gem.
Definitely. And just on the quick topic of Toluca, it is official. Jared Ortega will be going over to Toluca on an official buy from them. It's still kind of unclear to me whether it had something to do with the deal. I don't think it did. I just think that, I think America just kind of had just to give him up for whatever they had going on with Toluca, but Jared Ortega will not be coming back to Club America. He is now a Toluca player officially. So that's that. And now another player that came in, a player that we thought we almost had slipped away, but we didn't. We managed to close on him, and I think this is one of the better chancers of any team this season. Pedro Aquino coming over from León to Club America. The number 5 spot. This is a spot we've been trying to fill since Guido left. He had a couple players, didn't really necessarily work out. Now let's see what Pedro Aquino can do. For me personally, I think this is a very good buy. I think this is a player who understands the position, and it was very good at it from last season's numbers. It's just a matter of bringing that same form over to America. We thought we were gonna get it with also. We thought we were gonna get it with Santi Cáceres. Unfortunately, with either one of them, they just fell short. Let's see if Pedro Aquino can be the one to kind of mimic what Guido did back in the day. AJ, quick thoughts on Pedro Aquino?
Really excited to see him. We finally secured a center defensive midfield that we've been looking for to fill in the spot since Guido left. So just hearing a player like him who is comfortably on off of a championship win, it's really good to just see that he is ready to wear the jersey, play the number 5 position, and get himself situated from the get-go. So really excited to see what Pedro Aquino can bring into this America side and to the midfield.
No, yeah. Completely agree with that. He looks like he's ready to go, and I think the most important thing about it is I think he understands the responsibility and the weight that number 5 jersey carries.
Mhm.
After the performances of Guido Rodriguez, obviously he knew that the previous predecessor to that jersey was Santi Cáceres, and he definitely wasn't exactly what we all expected to. Ended up getting shipped back to Spain, and really no one, I think, at the end of the day, is going to be missing him. Pedro Aquino, we know, has the experience of playing in the league, which I think is something crucial that we didn't have with Santi. He knows what it is to win a championship. He just came
Mhm.
off winning one with Leon. And I think if he can stay disciplined, there's another situation
That's
that
a big,
he's
big part.
but if he can stay disciplined and if he can kind of master the role that Solari wants him to play, because he's not going to be playing the same number 5 role that Piojo would have had him playing, I would imagine, Christian. So it's going to be interesting. All these players
Yeah.
have to adapt with his new coach and everything, but Pedro
Mhm.
Aquino is exciting. I'm happy that we got him. Now it's just time for him to go step up to the plate and prove us as to why that he was the perfect player for America.
Of course, and just one thing, I think we can say this for all three people that have come in. Solari, Aquino, Medina. It seems that they know they're arriving to Club America, and I think that's a very, very, very important thing to note, because they know that, okay, I'm at Club America, but that's not enough. I need to prove why I was chosen to come here, why people are relying on me, and I think all three of them have a good idea that they are coming to the biggest team in this continent, and then now it's time to prove themselves. So for me, I think that's just a good sign from all three of them. So in terms of addition, that's all we have for right now. But there may be more, though. There may be more, but well, yes, Mauro Linus too, but Mauro Linus, we already knew about that. So thank you, Chris. You're reminding me of something very important. Just quick thoughts on Mauro Linus. This is an interesting one to me.
I don't know. I'm skeptical about him. Is he gonna be the winger that we all want? But I'm willing to say no.
Mhm.
I feel like he's gonna be kind of that rotation player again. But I mean, Christian, we were just talking about this before we got on the podcast. This is an interesting thing that there was a lot of hype in and around Mauro Linus today, all over the
Yes,
news.
yes.
Apparently,
Mhm.
está llenando ojo a Solari, and if that's the case, then that's good. I mean, the more Mexican talent that we can push, the better it is for us, because then that means we're not so heavily reliant on that foreigner base, because we know as the years transcend and go by, that foreigner slot is going to be going, it's going to be getting shorter and shorter.
Correct.
So uh, these are good signings for the future, and we'll see.
We'll
I
see.
hope he pays out to be what a
Mhm.
lot of the hype is saying that he will be.
AJ, you have to be the reason why Solari is liking Linus. I don't know what calls you made, but just quick thoughts on Mauro Linus, and why do you think he's gonna succeed at Club America?
I have a lot of people doubt him at first, and then me at first as well, just looking at stat. But I'm like, we got a left winger. Everyone was saying we want a left winger. That's who we got. And for me personally, I take it with them. He shows us some promise. At one point, I'm saying he got called by la Selección Nacional de Mexico, so that's a good thing to add to his resume too. He was in the eye of Gerardo Martino, Tata Martino at some point, so that's something to bring to the table as well. He's got experience in this league playing. He's the older brother of Diego Lainez, and everyone knows him for that reason. But it's given more of a reason to not just only be he's just known as the older brother of Diego Lainez, but also a great player at that as well. And I'm gonna say this before, he's gonna feed every single ball to Viñas and Henry, and then the next he goes to Real Betis as well, playing alongside with his brother.
That's
Well,
definitely a dream.
that's a bold statement, my
That's a
friend.
bold
Very
statement,
bold.
and it's definitely a dream of all the Linus family. But yes,
Let me say something real quickly though.
yes, of course, go for it.
What what trend is going on in America right now that it feels like everyone kind of has a shadow casted over them that they have to overcome, right? Solari with Leo Ben Hacker,
Mhm.
Mauro Lainez with Diego Lainez, Pedro Aquino with the shadow of Guido Rodriguez, and Alan Medina with kind
Listen,
of everything going in and around that right hand side.
I think everyone is just excited, and I don't want to necessarily call it like a fresh start, but it does feel like a fresh start though.
Mhm.
It just I think that 2020 was just a bad year in general, and just speaking on Club America terms, it definitely wasn't a year of a lot of positivity for us. Definitely not in the beginning of the year where we saw this team really start to begin a downfall, and then whatever happened in the last months of the Guardianes and Champions League. So I think a lot of people are just very very excited for this new season, this new coach, these new additions, and like I said, I think that the fans are feeding off of the enthusiasm that everyone's bringing, and all these four players that we just mentioned and coach, they just giving up a vibe that that the fans just need and the fans want, that the fans are like getting it through their mind that these individuals know that Club America is the cream of the crop, and now it's time to show the world why we are the cream of the crop. So for me, I think that's a good sign, and that's definitely why I'm excited for Saturday night. But for right now, just a quick note, that is all for now in terms of transfers. There could be additions, but there needs to be more departures. Obviously, the big name Roger Martinez. Will he leave? Will he go? We don't know. Today he finally got to Cuapa, did his medicals, and talked to Solari. Solari will still have a choice to make whether to include Roger or not. But the thing is that we are over foreigners, so we need to bench one of them. And for right now, it seems like Roger is the chosen one to be benched. So we need to see what goes on with him. I think we'll know more towards the end of the week when we kind of have a roster to see who will take on San Luis, and then we'll go from there. But for right now, Roger and Ibargüen are the ones that America is trying to push out very desperately. There is nothing with any player, so don't believe anything. I think I saw Ibargüen to Mazatlan at one point. That's not gonna happen. So that's not gonna happen. The new rumor right now is unfortunately for Atlas, Julio Furch got a very nasty injury in a friendly match. Don't know why he was playing that, but that's not here or there. So they're looking for someone. They're thinking Roger Martinez. I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think it's too much for Atlas. But we'll have to see if that develops or not. But for right now, nothing with nobody. The board's trying to push them out. It's just very difficult to do it with the amount of wages that they have. So for right now, that is the update on Club America, and let's just get ready for Saturday.
That's a big hit that America is taking right now in regards to both of those wages. We need to move them. We need
Yes.
to move them really, really quickly.
Mhm.
But you're right, Christian. I mean, let's before we move on into kind of what the expectations for the season is going to be, just quickly, I want to address what Christian is saying. No, sorry, Christian, Chris. Christian, will you address what Chris is saying? Is what I was trying to say. Sorry.
Okay.
And Alan Velasco, any word
Yes.
on this youngster?
Of course, Alan Velasco. So obviously he comes from the famous club that owes us a lot of money, and this is I think their way of saying that they want to repay us in a way. Most likely not going to happen. Yes, there is interest from the board. They know of the player. They are aware of his presence, and they're aware of the gem that he can be. But like we keep mentioning over and over again, nothing can happen unless Roger or Ibargüen leaves. And it'd be better if both of them leave, and then that's how I know for sure that we'll make a good push. But for right now, until you see anybody leave, no one will come to Club America that's a foreigner. People from the league can still come, like Marcel Ruiz, but they cannot be in the squad list for the respective team for the first four jornadas. So be on the lookout for that.
That's going to be an interesting thing. And again, this is all going to be developing as the weeks go by. Again, the January transfer window just barely opened. So America has a lot of time to move in. And granted, it's not really America's fault that the league decides to start the season just a week into January. I feel like if maybe they would have given us like 2-3 weeks in, I think we would have had a much better roster to start off the season. Maybe even got a couple games under our belt, but no preseason at all for America. We'll see what that does. I'm sure that a lot of teams also suffering because of this, but again, we'll have to wait and see what happens in regards to that. But again, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and now officially on Facebook as well. We'll have you guys covered with all things Club America over there, and we'll have you updated on all transfer news. So if you guys haven't done so, make sure you guys set that notification bell so you guys get every single tweet, post, whatever voice messages that we send out. It doesn't matter. We're going to have you guys covered on all things Las Águilas del América for 2021, and looking forward to seeing what this America roster is going to develop like by the end of January. But okay, gentlemen, let's move on into our next segment. And before we kind of talk about the expectations of America, I know I said first we're going to answer Chris, but first I want to remind you guys that today's episode is brought to you guys by Foot Cult. That's right. We're starting off 2021 with a bang here and letting you guys know that Foot Cult is the place to go if you guys want to buy official Eagle Eye podcast merchandise, as well as some great awesome stuff that they have going on over there. Word is that they're going to do their first drop of the new year very, very soon. And we're all pretty much excited to see what that is going to be. I can promise you though one thing, it's that it's gonna be something worthwhile. So if you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys go check out Foot Cult. Use discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off. Again, that is discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off. And again, thank you to our sponsors, Foot Cult, for sponsoring.
Just one more thing on that, guys. If you do use our code, screenshot it and tweet us. Add us on Twitter, add us on Facebook, add us on Instagram. Let us know that you are using our code. We're in the works. I think these two gentlemen can agree that there is something in the works for people who do use our code. Just spread the love, and thank you once again.
Definitely spread the love, spread the word, use the discount code, and get some great merchandise. And like Christian said, we'll kind of iron out the details with screenshot. Let us know that you guys purchased something for Foot Cult, and it might just give you an entry onto something really, really cool that we have planned for you guys at the end of the season. But more in regards to that later down the road. All right, gentlemen, let's talk expectations in regards to GUARD1ANES 2021, aka the Clausura. Obviously, like I mentioned, we have kind of this big expectation for always being America, but I kind of want to step out of that and be a little bit more on the realistic side of things. Where do you see not only America finish in the regular table in regards to the Clausura, but also if and when we do make Liguilla, how far do you think that this America team has at the moment, depth-wise, to maybe push for a title run? Can we make it all the way to the final? Can we lift that 14th? Or are we, again, going to be devastated in a round of 16 disqualification? So I'm going to throw it to you first, AJ. I want to know exactly what do you think the season expectations are for America? Obviously, I know that the title is a must, but for you, in a more realistic tone, seeing everything that is in and around the club right now, new coach, new staff, kind of a couple of new players, the mess that was 2020 and trying to, clean that up. Where do you see America finish?
I'd say, honestly, America, they'll finish, I'm going with top four. They'll finish top four. I feel like if we could definitely record the performance, but I think what's more important in order for us to hit that top four, it's finding our play style, finding an identity, because I feel like throughout past seasons, we've just are unable to figure out what that identity or play style is. It's before it was always, let's pass the ball to one of our wingers. They walk up to the corner of the field. They go for a corner. We then hope a forward can then just head it on whoever it's going to be the case. I think in this case, with under Solari, who's bringing in with tactics and play style, he's hoping to implement that onto the field right from the get-go. It should not take us that long, like by Jornada 8, Jornada 10, whatever that Jornada number may be. We need to implement it from the get-go. Yes, you can experiment with some players, but I feel like you should have a definitely starting 11, definite play style, and go with it from there. That's what I feel like America are going to be looking for importantly this season. I feel like in just regular season, they need to finish top four. That's what I'm going with.
Okay, interesting. Christian?
No, definitely. I think that it's mandatory that America finishes top four and goes straight into the Liga. Don't play any type of repechaje. But like AJ, I think AJ said it perfectly. But besides that, though, because that's a mandatory every season. We need to find a place that we need to find the identity. We need to find us what makes Club America, and why people should fear Club America. Because last year, no one feared us, no one respected us. And if we won any games, it was just because our players bailed us out at some point or another. America needs to find their heart. They need to dig deep in some games and just pull it out, but doing it smartly, doing it tactically. And I think we'll have a better America season if America can become that disciplined team that Solari wants them to be.
I think the most important thing about this America side is not only finding that kind of Solari play style and maybe that identity, building up kind of that, we are America presence, but I think from just a club perspective, is making sure that these players stay healthy. for the regular season. I mean, no one can no one can sit here and not say that some of the poor results that we had last season didn't hinge on some players not being available for us. And not to say that that was the only X factor, but it was a very kind of, you know, it was a season where we were all scratching our heads. Is what America decided we're going to get this week, and who's available, who's not, who just got injured, who's coming back, and I think if America can finally keep players healthy, players like Gio, players like Benedetti, players like Aguilera, players that are prone to being out for a couple of weeks, if you can finally start getting them to be more consistent in regards to being in the team, I think that's just going to overall help develop that play style, that identity, and kind of cement that top four finish. Because if you don't have all your tools, how can you get the job properly done? So I think for that perspective, America needs to go out there. We know that Gibber is out. Hashtag Gibber is gone. But he, a lot of people were saying that it was because of him. Now we'll finally see if that's the case, or if it's some of these players. So I think that's the most important thing in regards to America. Also, is finding that form, that style, but also keeping your players healthy enough to be able to kind of grow week in and week out.
Of course, definitely. And just in regards to season expectations as well, I think we just have to. Well, obviously, the goal is always become champion, right? And if we're not champion, then it's a failure of a season. But like Ivan was mentioning earlier, just being a little bit more realistic and just taking this whole thing and the whole America situation right now, just for me, I think getting a good showing in semifinals. Obviously, it's not going to make me happy because I want to be a champion at the end of the season. That's something most, but it is respectable for now. But if next season after that, there is not a trophy in Club America, then the questions need to be start to be asked, for sure.
So, question, you're saying semifinals for America?
Semifinals for sure, 100%. Has to be this year. Has to be this season, mandatory. A top four finish and a semifinal appearance has to be on the plate.
All right, AJ?
No and dip or buts.
I agree with that too. If you get out at quarterfinals again, then no. That's just ultimately a fracaso. Forget about that top four. If you can satisfy hitting top four, and like Christian mentioned, get to the semifinals, that's a good enough season. Yes, like Christian mentioned before, again, we're not chance, but for someone that's coming in for their first season, I'll take it. But just after that, no more playing games. Get into work, get us that 14th.
Definitely. I think the expectation is definitely a semifinal run. I agree with you guys. I think that's exactly what America needs to get to. Whether or not we win that game, then then we can go and evaluate from that point on.
But if we get to the final, we have to win it.
Oh yeah,
100%. 100%.
That's a must.
That's a must. It's a must.
But
it's a must right now. But we're saying that
it's like saying, well, we get to the semifinal, and
the only thing I will say though,
too. But
I mean, the only thing I will say, and I'm sure you guys will agree with me. Obviously, if America, loses a game here or there, and if America doesn't make the final, people are gonna start calling for Piojo. They're gonna start saying that Solari was a failure, was the wrong man to do the job. Just quick thoughts. What would you guys say to people like that? Because there's gonna be the comments, obviously. When America loses their first game this season, everyone's gonna start bringing out the comments. So just for everyone in the chat as well, what would you to respond to someone who would say those type of things?
I think first of all, you have to assess in the way that America loses and what game they've just lost, right? Okay. Because if it's not just any regular game, and if it's a bad way to lose it, then I think that maybe people will start getting more hectic. If it's just one game and it's just kind of one of those that you got a bit unfortunate, bad call, whatever the case may be, I think people will let that slide. But the one thing you do have to say is you have to remember that this is a process. There is no such thing as coming in and just having ultimate success like that. Is it possible? Yes, of course. There's plenty of out there. But let's be more reasonable. That doesn't happen often, right? It's 1 in every 100 cases that a manager can come in and completely just be successful off the get-go. I think that we have to give Solari the time and just see, wait it out and kind of, if those people start bashing on him, recall them and take them back and be like, well, weren't you just saying how excited you were about Solari and this and that, and kind of go back to that same excitement and just kind of simmer it down a little bit with the criticism, because I think that you have to give these players and this coach the time to develop and to get to know each other and to build the time to build the play. It's like it's not like you can come in here and just be like, all right, guys, you're starting out and you should already know how to play. Go out there and win the game. It's not as
Yeah,
simple as that.
of
So I
course not.
think it's finding it's finding the way it's finding a way to kind of alleviate a little bit of the pressure and the criticism and say, look, okay, we get it, you lost this game, it's unfortunate, but you got to bounce back and get another result.
Of course, definitely, and that's something I hope that people understand, that it is a process, and while I'm not trying to defend Solid in any different way, in any kind of way, it's just I think people need to understand that. Now, Ivan, this is a question for you because this is going to pertain to one of your favorite players. A lot of times in the prior season, we lacked a lot of leadership, and we lacked that player that can or that staff member, just to say that they kind of just get the troops together and let them know that we're still in the game. There's still time to turn this over because we're America and we know how to come back with 2 minutes left in the game. We could be down 4-0, 2 minutes left, and we still can manage a way to tie this game some way or another.
Let's go. Yes.
That's something that was missing last season. I think both of you can agree, and I think the majority of the people in this chat can agree that something like that was missing. Now, and these videos that we're seeing Ochoa get very friendly with Solari. I think that they are starting to mesh together very well. And I just want to know if you think Ochoa can be that player to kind of get the team together and say, listen, we're going to ride with him. We're going to see what he has to offer, but we have to give 129% every single game.
Yes and no. Yes, in the aspect that he is the most respected player, I think, in that team. I think people look up to him. They respect him. Definitely respect him, not just because of what he did at America, but his career in general. And he's a top quality player. No one can deny that. And so I think his teammates definitely respect him. He's actually, I think he's the oldest player in that locker room. And so I think that carries a lot of respect, a lot of weight. And I think he definitely can be. The only reason I say no is because sometimes you need that outfield player to be that type of player. Because as a goalkeeper, you're kind of restrained. Yeah, during the match. In the locker room, Ochoa can be that person. In the training grounds, Ochoa can be that person. In the hotel room, Ochoa can be that person. Ochoa can be that leader. But and if you go back to the earlier episodes of the GUARD podcast, and we've mentioned, I think it was if Marchesín would be a good captain. I said yes and no, but I've always said to the point where I don't think a goalkeeper makes a good captain because you're constrained to an 18-yard box, and that's hard. I've done it before. It's hard. It's hard to kind of be in the presence of the referee. It's hard to kind of be in the areas where the captain needs to be at times. So can the captain do it? Of course, there's been great examples out there: Oliver Kahn, Gigi Buffon, Iker Casillas. But I think that for me, an outfield player should always be the captain in that sense. But can Ochoa be that player to rally the troops? Of course, no doubt about it.
Perfect. So yeah, so I think that's something I think America needs to just work on. Just finding that heart again, and leaving it all on the pitch. Whoever we play, it could be Cruz Azul, Chivas, Puebla, Juarez, Tampico, Madero, but whoever it is, though, we need to go out there and leave it all on the pitch. And that's something that I think, in my opinion, was missing last season.
No, yeah, I agree with you, and hopefully we get it this year. Hopefully we get it this year. But I think that is something that we just haven't looked at, and that is the fact that I don't think we really have a leader out on the pitch other than Ochoa. And that's a bit of a worrisome type of thing if you think about it.
Of course.
But again, hey, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But that pretty much does it, gentlemen. Now let's talk America versus San Luis. The GUARD1ANES 2021 season is about to kick off for America. Liga MX is back on Saturday for us at the Estadio Azteca. Of course, unfortunately, again, due to the COVID situation, there is no fans still present in the stadiums. Although with these vaccines and with hopefully time progressing, fingers crossed that fans will be able to return. I will say this though, if fans do end up returning, I know quite the tangent. Do we finally see an America get filled more than 15,000 people?
I think we do. I think it's just the people are itching to go to a game again. I know I'm itching. It's just so if I had the opportunity, I would definitely go. Like you said though, Ivan, fingers crossed, and if everything is safe and if everything is in protocol, and I would love to assist the game. But I think we need to get there as a whole, not just as an individual. So but like you said, as long as people start or are still continuing to not obey this and not follow this, I think it's gonna be a while before we get fans back. But if it does come true this season, then I think America does fill up a good majority of the stadium.
Hopefully. Definitely, hopefully. But all right, let's talk America versus San Luis, guys. Game finally on the TVs. I will say this much, AJ. It's a very sad weekend when there's no America to watch. I think you can agree with me on that one.
Yes, no doubt about it. I just think to my mind, so like, oh, it's the weekend. You're like, oh, wait, that's right. There's not an America game. I just sit on my couch. I'm like, what do I do then?
This is very depressing.
It's like, what do I do?
Like pain.
Pain indeed. That's how I am.
All right. Well, this game's gonna be live via through the end at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 Eastern, and we're back to that 7 p.m. schedule, going up against Atletico San Luis in the books and in on paper. This looks like an America easy victory over San Luis, but we know that never seems to be the case, especially in recent years. So, gentlemen, what can we expect from this America side? We'll talk about the possible starting 11 and maybe hint at what Solari wants to do with this starting 11, and then we'll talk a little bit about the San Luis side, which are no pushovers by any means necessary. I think they're coming in to try to build an upset against the former Real Madrid coach, and it should be an interesting game to watch nonetheless. But Christian, talk to me about this possible starting 11. I know I'm asking for a lot since this is the first time we ever preview Solari, and we really haven't seen much in training since they've only done like about a handful of them.
Right.
But what does your gut say? I know you've seen Solari, you've watched him play, you know the type of style that he wants, and you know what kind of players would definitely fit that system.
Definitely.
What do you think is going to be the starting 11 for America on Saturday?
Sure. So I'll just get the start 11, and I'll go a little bit into depth of why I think he will go with this. So in that, he'll go with Ochoa. He'll go with the back four: Jorge Sanchez, Ramon Juarez, Emmanuel Aguilera, and I'm gonna go with Luis Fuentes. He's gonna have three in the midfield. He'll have Pedro Aquino as a CDM, Richard Sanchez, and Sebastian Cordova. And then he'll play three in the attack. On the wing, he'll have Linus. On the other wing, he'll have Suarez. And up top, he'll have Federico Viñas.
Okay, straight off the bat, AJ, what does that lineup scream? Do you like it? Do you not?
I like it. I dig it. The only thing I'm concerned though is like I'm pretty sure did not hear a Sebastian Cáceres. I didn't hear that at all, right?
No, after his blunder against LAFC, he deserves to be benched.
Yeah, no, I that's right.
But it has to be. Is Emma back?
Emma, no, I don't think he's back.
Right? So if it's not Emma, it has to be Sebas, Cáceres, and Ramon Juarez.
But yeah, no, this lineup though, I dig it. It's the first game of the season. You got pieces you could work with. Try it out, see how it is. That ain't the case, we go next game. Or if ain't, well, not even next game, anything. If it doesn't work out some point, you got a second half. Switch some of the players up, and there you go. So you can still, if you could get that engine going.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting lineup. I will say this though, it does bring me a little bit. I think we talked about this on kind of like the behind the scenes episode. I'm a huge fan of the 4-3-3, right? And in my life, I never thought I would ever see America ever play a 4-3-3.
Yeah, no,
so
same here.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that. For that,
America play like a 4-4-2 for like a whole decade.
I've seen America play 8 at the back, and I thought I'd see 10 at the back before I see 4-3-3. But I'm excited for that perspective. The only thing I'm worried about this formation and about this lineup is Fuentes. It's not really so much our center backs. I think that they're young, and this is a good game to kind of develop them and really mold them into being kind of more of a regular starters if they can get a good game under their belt. But Fuentes is by far the weakest link that we have, and in this formation, it's even more of a weaker link because even though technically Mauro Lainez should still be dropping, that's a lot of space to kind of cover as a
course.
winger in comparison to a left midfielder.
The scarier
So
part is, which I'll get into a little bit later. Solari loves to play with his fullbacks pushed up a lot. So if one of these Fuentes gets caught, that's gonna be a lot of responsibility on the center backs and on Pedro Aquino to kind of just drop back and fill in space. Even more so now because Richard Sanchez won't be centralized like that, right next to Pedro Aquino anymore. He'll be more up, and as he'll be given the freedom to kind of roam around, same as Sebastian Cordova. So I agree with you there, Ivan. I think having Fuentes there is definitely a big liability.
and that is my only concern because even against Atletico San Luis, they have some pace. AJ, correct me if I'm wrong, right? They have people that can run down that wing, and they have people that can hit us on the counterattack. And I think that's what they're going to be looking at in this game. That's exactly what I think the lineup in regards to Atletico San Luis is going to be. It's still going to soak up the pressure. I'm going to try to leave on the counter, and if and when we catch Fuentes off, that is our avenue to explore. So I mean, it's just kind of just gonna have to be the thing that we deal with at the moment until we find a left back that can properly play and take his spot and that has a little bit more pace to him. But it's not to say that Fuentes is the worst, left back that America has ever had, or it's just that the pace really is what hits him really hard, and we'll have to wait and see if he's able to cope with that. But for the meantime, I think that starting 11 looks good, looks promising, and I think that we can see some pretty interesting things. So, Christian, where do you think the ball is going to be played at mostly?
So this is the interesting part. You're gonna see a lot of the midfield play, and then that's how America will dictate this game. Is if Richard Sanchez and Cordova can be the ones to distribute the play. Now, the thing that I love about Solari is that wherever the ball is, whatever side of the field it is, his players are always compact. So you'll never see big gaps in between the lines. That's number one, and then around the ball. So I think that when the ball is on the wing, and that's what's another thing, he loves to play with the field stretched out as possible. So look for Linus and look for Leo Suarez, which are the two wingers that I have starting for this match. Be literally at the touchline, literally just standing there and just waiting to start a play up. So when the field is that wide, you need to be compact in a lot of these spaces. Richard Sanchez and Sebastian Cordova are going to have a lot of work to do. Whenever the ball gets lost, they're going to have to try to fill in that little gap, that little space, and leave minimal spaces as possible. So for me, I think a lot of the play is going to be kind of in that middle side, but more towards a wing, if you know what I'm trying to say. It's kind of hard because I have a whiteboard near me. It'd be easy to explain on the whiteboard, and I promise I'll get that somehow featured in this podcast somehow. But if you kind of following, it's kind of like in the midfield, but just tailored more to a wing in either side. Doesn't matter where, because both players are capable of distributing play. It's just everything's going to be compact though.
Definitely. Can't wait for Christian to become my Sunday league coach.
I'll do it over Zoom.
There you go. But yeah, no, it sounds like a very promising play style for America, and I think that we have the players in the midfield to actually do what Solari expects them to do. And again, at the end of the day, this is all hypothetical. We won't really know anything until that first game, and we might even have to sit back and watch it again to really dissect exactly what Solari's asking for some of these players, because you're not going to get it right on the first try, by no means necessary. But I think that America is poised in a pretty good position to be like, okay, we have a rival that most likely won't take the game to us as maybe Monterrey or a Tigres will. Then we're in a pretty good poised position to try some things out and see what they're capable of doing. I think that the players coming off the bench are going to be important just as well. And I mean, we'll have to see. But question does stand as to whether or not America can walk away with all 3 points. They should. And I think Solari is definitely under the hot seat if they don't get the first 3 points right away. And not in the way that he's going to get fired. But I think a lot of questions are going to start asking as to why this player, why that player. But again, this is a process. You don't get it right sometimes, always in the first try. But again, he knows the expectations. He knows what's being asked of him, and we'll have to wait and see. But we'll have to watch on Saturday to make sure that it's that it's as promising as we paint it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
But AJ, talk to me just briefly about Atletico San Luis. What can we expect from them? Who can we expect to show up for them?
I think it's going to be cases like Pedro Aquino or Nicolas Ibanez. Those are going to be the guys that are going to be showing up. These are two deadly goal scorers that when given the ball and you leave them wide open, they're going to punish you, especially if it's off of a set piece. Because we've seen from time and time again, Americans always seem to be caught off guard in these set pieces. And with big guys like Pedro Quiroga and Nico Ibanez, you see them head that ball, Ochoa's need to react as soon as possible. But even by then, it may not be enough considering these guys are known for their aerial ability, especially for big guys like Pedro Quiroga. You see him how he scored goals left on Necaxa. He's done the same thing at Atletico San Luis. So it's really just being careful of those two guys. And then when you look on the wing, players like Barrera and Germán Betarame, you need to be careful with those kind of guys. If you see if Luis Fuentes gets caught off guard at any point in time, knowing how slow he can be, it's gonna spell big trouble for him because any one of those wingers is gonna feed the ball to whoever it may be up front and just head it. So it's really that offense is the thing that America needs to worry about the most.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, well, and unfortunately, thank God
Quiroga's at Pachuca because yes, he is very deadly. You're right.
It's fine.
So that's one less thing you have to worry about.
There you go. One last thing to worry about.
One less thing we have to worry about. Let's go.
Why are we so excited about a player leaving Atletico San Luis? That goes to show you how bad of an America side we had on 2020. But
yes, it does.
No, I mean, ultimately, I think we can expect some pretty good, exciting things from America. And again, you guys just gonna have to watch this game on Saturday alongside with us because
there's a learning process for us as well. You know, I can say everything, and you know, so that I can just come back with the back five, and then you know, surprise the whole world, and then I'll definitely hate him for sure. And then we should have brought Memo Vasquez in.
Oh God, no. Here's a funny story that you guys that probably won't ever hear unless we tell it. But when we were making the graphics for the manager to come in, I remember that I was recording my other podcast, the Hangeo podcast, and Christian and Angel just kept blowing my phone up, and they're like, "Hey, who is the manager?" Sergio Bueno. They're like, make a graphic because Sergio Bueno is about to be announced as a Club America manager, and I was like, and I replied, I quit as soon as I made the graphic, and I was like, if we ever tweet this, I quit. And to this day, if we get either Memo Vasquez or Sergio Bueno, I promise you that is the end of me on this podcast. I'm not dealing with that. Never again.
Yeah,
it would have been way better if it was announced as we were streaming live, and then next thing you know, I was just like, "All right, have a good night, everyone. Take care, stay safe, wear a mask, and pain. Good night, everyone." That would have been better if that came.
Yeah, I know. It felt good deleting that one off the draft. So
yes, dude.
I'll tell you that much.
But you did it, Ivan. So the pain is never gonna leave away. You still made that graphic. You took the time to sit down and make it.
It was terrible. Never cried making a graphic before, but no, this looks like it's gonna be a promising year for America. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And it has to start off here. It has to start off against Atletico San Luis. You got to bounce back from 2020 with 3 points and just kind of keep building on and climbing that mountain because it won't be no easy task. But I think Solari has the capabilities of making this happen. All right, gentlemen. Before we finish it up, I want to hear you guys' predictions, and then I'll read a couple of the predictions from our listeners and viewers. So Saturday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, live via Tudene. What is your guys' scoreline prediction for America versus San Luis? AJ, I am throwing it to you first. What is going to be your first prediction of 2021?
2-0 win for America.
2-0 win for America. Look what 2020 did to AJ. It just completely demoralized him. He's not going with no more 4-0s, no more 3-0s. He's like, man, we're going 2-0. I gotta play it safe. All right, Christian. AJ said 2. What are you saying?
Listen, I'm very excited with Solari. I think he's gonna bring a whole new America, but it's gonna take some time. And with that time, it's gonna be growing pains. And unfortunately, I still don't have that much confidence in our defense just yet. So just for that, instead of a 2-0, we'll go with the 2-1 America.
2-1 America. Breaks my heart to hear that we don't get the clean sheet, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna go with a unfortunately a very very non-thrilling 1-0 result for America. I think that we get the victory. I think we get the goal early on, but just kind of don't really learn how to break Atletico San Luis ever again. And then, of course, I do think our defense is a little bit of a liability. So I think that maybe we start thinking about, conserving the result later on in the matchup. So I'm going 1-0. That clean sheet, though, would be very, very important for players like Ramon Juarez and Sebas Cáceres. So I think at the end of the day, even if you end up winning 1-0, or if it's that 5-0 prediction that I see in the comment section down below, a clean sheet ultimately is going to be the highlight of this match if America is able to walk away with it. Of course, though, 3 points is a must. But there you guys have it. Anselmo and
You said it right.
Anselmo Asuncion Padilla Hernandez. What a name. What a name. I just got to admire that. What a name. Easy 5-0 victory for America. We're going Jacob with a 4-0 against San Luis. Wow, Solari comes in and everyone just starts being even more bold
Even
with their
more
prediction.
bold. There's a lot of growing pains to go through, but I think he'll get there eventually, though, and maybe we will see a couple 4-0s, 5-0s this season. We just gotta wait and see.
Okay. Alrighty then. But here we go. One last question before we wrap things up. Before y'all end, I want to hear your opinions on what Piojo said. Obviously, I think he's mentioning AJ to what you and I were talking about in regards to him criticizing the fans and kind of saying that there were some really unrealistic kind of expectations when it came to summer transfer windows and all that stuff. Um, Look, at the end of the day, Chris, Piojo is gonna do what he can to get on the front page, and unfortunately, I think that means that he might have to step on a couple of people to get there. I don't think that anyone's really gonna be paying too much attention to him. Literally, he's old news at this point, and until he starts managing again, I don't think we'll ever be really hearing much from him in kind of that spotlight type of thing. So I don't know, gentlemen, what do you have to say?
Listen, it's just see, there were reports saying that that he took the news of his of him no longer being at the helm of Club America very well, that there were no discussions, but deep down, obviously, in anybody, there's gonna be some of those feelings. And for me, it just seems like, because this is probably the last time, this is not the last time we're gonna see Piojo at the Club America bench. I think all of us can agree here that he will return at some point. And just making little smirky comments like this, to me, it's just not cool. It's not really professional, and there's really no point in him making these comments. The fans obviously are gonna ask for demands, and whether some demands are absurd and some aren't, you still have to respect that America is gonna generate those type of comments, and if you can't handle that, then you should not be at the helm of Club America. So for me, that just shows that he's a little weak in that aspect.
Interesting. AJ, quickly.
Just ridiculous. Like, dude, you got sacked. It's done. Just leave America back in the past. I think at this point, everyone has moved on from Piojo. We slandered him enough. We talked enough about what the stats and all that. America's moved on. So should you, dude. Just look forward to the future and see you could land yourself a job somewhere. He said he wants to go get a job in Europe. If that happens, happy for him. He did say he's not going to reject if he does get an MLS call up too. Fine by me too. You get that call up, I'm happy for you. I wish nothing but the best for you. But just for now, you having to say comments like that, like Christian said, it's unprofessional. You don't need to do that. I mean, yes, you have to say something here to get yourself into the news somehow, to get your name circulating around the internet. But for now, it's just leave it behind. That's it. What's done, it's done. What happened has happened. You can't go back to it and fix it. That's that.
Definitely. One more prediction there. Luis Parada going with a 2-0 victory. Alrighty, then I just want to say that Piojo is being a toxica in the timeline, and we just kind of have to mute him and just kind of be like, okay, I'm going to do me, boo. I'm going to do me.
Mhm.
Alrighty, then. Well, gentlemen, I think that pretty much wraps up this episode. Kicking off the new year with hopefully a lot of good expectations and hopefully a lot of good positivities. Gentlemen, and one last thing before we wrap all things up here.
Just I'm looking forward to Saturday night. I think this is definitely the start of something new, and hopefully this is the start of the 14th for Club America.
Definitely. All right, then. So make sure you guys join us over on Saturday on Twitter. I will be live tweeting the whole match with you guys. So make sure you guys come hang out on Twitter as we'll be interacting and hopefully tweeting out goal after goal after goal in the first match of the Clausura 2021. And that pretty much wraps it up for us here. We'll be back next week to talk things all America. We have Monterrey. That is a big one. And we'll see whether or not Solari is up for the test because we are traveling away to Monterrey. So that's never going to be an easy matchup. By no means necessary. But that pretty much wraps it up for us here. Make sure you guys tune in. And tomorrow we'll be talking all things Lady Águilas and previewing their season that is coming up as well. We'll be talking all the ins, the outs, the expectations, just as we did on this episode, but we're going to be doing it for the feminine. And you guys don't want to miss any second of it whatsoever either. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time out. Again, favorite time of the week, being able to talk to you guys all things Las Águilas del América.
Of course, brother. Take care, everybody.
All right, everyone. Everyone have yourselves a wonderful time. Make sure you guys stay safe out there. Wear a jacket if it's cold. If it's not, then wear a tank top. I have really no idea what to tell you in that aspect. But with that, take care. We'll see each other on Saturday. We'll be back again. As always, we'll be back. And Arriba la América. Good night, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news and coverage. And subscribe to our podcast wherever it is you may listen.